Happy Wednesday. Let's make sure, there we go. Now I think the video's up. Perfect. Hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you for either signing on if you're here live or for watching the replay if you were unable to make it live. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been live here. I was at the IFS training last week, which was really cool and exciting, and I'm excited to be back here. And I know there's a ton of new people who have joined the group so far since then in the past couple of weeks. So starting by introducing myself in case you don't quite know who I am yet. My name is Amanda. My last name is pronounced Baduris. I am a licensed psychologist in private practice. I live in Central Oregon, originally from the Midwest. And I am currently working on some more business coaching work for therapists, especially for trauma therapists, really with this hope and intention around helping more people learn what intensives are. That's why all of you are here in this group, because you've heard about them, you're not quite sure what they are, but you are interested in learning about what they are and how they can help you with your practice, especially with your income, having more balance, having more flexibility in your scheduling. So there's tons of recorded videos if you're newer to this group and haven't seen those yet. I talk about different topics like structuring, some marketing pieces, even like treatment planning for 90-minute intensives. So if you haven't, check those out. And today we're talking about how do I write some effective copy for marketing those intensives. If you are new here, or even if you've been here before, go ahead and say hi in the chat. Because I love to be able to just chat with you guys. If you have questions along the way, please feel free to pop those in. I'll be looking at those every now and then. If you see me looking a little bit more off to this side of the screen, that's where I've got my notes up so that I can make sure I hit all the points I want to cover today. And we'll plan to be out by the top of the hour. So I like to keep these trainings nice, short, sweet, to the point. So that you all can get on with your day, hopefully leave with a little bit of information. Hello, everyone from Michigan. Cool. Hi, Takesha. Okay, so to start with, I know some of the, again, like what even are therapy intensives? Why do we want to do them? I always say therapy intensive is just kind of a fancy word for an elongated session. We've all done the 45, 50, 60-minute sessions. A therapy intensive is really just a prolonged session. So are you meeting for 90 minutes? Are you meeting for 2-3 hours? More than that? Are you doing that as a one-time thing? Do you do it as recurring? I do some intensive packages for my individuals and clients, so over a span of 2-3 days, over a week, or back-to-back. So an intensive can kind of look whatever you want it to look like, whatever works for you, whatever works for your population, how you work, if there's specific modalities that you use. And again, just really supports client growth and progress, as well as, you and your confidence in your business and helping you to make more money from this. Once I started offering intensives, my income not only increased, but also stabilized, especially when I take time off for trainings or vacations or I'm sick or whatever it is, I'm not as worried about money because intensives help to kind of buffer things for me. So it's a really great way to just have some more stability, some predictability, some consistency in your income for whatever reason, whether you want time off, you need time off, whatever that might be. And so in the topic of copywriting, some therapists know what intensives are, and some of you may never have heard of them, right? So this is already new to you, just as well. It might be really new to clients. Clients may have no idea what an intensive is. It might actually look a little scary to be like, sign up for intensive therapy here. Like, well, what does that mean? Are we going like deep into the roots of things? Like, I kind of want that, but also like, ooh, that sounds weird. Some people have maybe seen like an intensive outpatient program, which is obviously not what we're here doing. So the importance of how you're writing about what an intensive is, what that looks like for you, why you're offering it as a service, right? Those are all the pieces and kind of context that we have to hold in mind, that this might be something totally new to clients. They probably also think that they're coming in, looking at your website, giving you a call, for that traditional 45, 60-minute kind of session. So if you're to say like, well, how about an intensive? They're like, I don't even know what that is. Like, no, I just want the weekly thing. So having it in a few different places, like on your website, if you have a social media presence, just to be able to talk about what a therapy intensive is, why it's good for clients, why it's actually more cost efficient, time efficient. All those things are things that you can hit in your website, because really well-written copy can help connect with those clients. It can really help them understand, well, this is the value of it. This is really why I want to do it. I actually just booked an intensive that I'll be doing next Monday with a client, and the client told me on the consultation call, like, everything that you laid out on your website, like, I'm already sold. That sounds like exactly what I need. I am tired of just the weekly talk therapy. I do want to get to more than just the like, yeah, logically I know this, but emotionally I'm still struggling with that. So already just from reading through some of the pages on my website, she was like, I'm in. I didn't really have to sell the intensive because she just knew it was going to be what she wanted. So being able to do that saves you time, saves you money, helps decrease a little bit of your imposter syndrome of like, oh, is this really a thing that I'm offering? And how are they going to trust me? Because you don't have to sell them. They're not as skeptical. They're more excited. They're a little nervous, the clients, but there isn't that sense that like I have to prove to them that this is something that's good for them, because you're already doing some of that encouragement on your website with your copy. So that's why it's really important, right? We want to be able to talk about what it is, what it's going to look like with you, why it's beneficial for them. And so thinking about your website generally, there's a couple things that you want to keep in mind in terms of like, how is this going to integrate into your practice, what you want it to look like specifically. And by that, I mean, are you in a place where you just kind of want to explore what it looks like to work intensively? And by that, I mean, do you want some clients, whether they're current clients, new clients, to do consistent 90-minute appointments? That's what I do with my therapist. I go for 90 minutes every other week, and that's just our plan. So is that what you want to do? Do you want to do some of the normal routine 45, 50, 60-minute appointments and some 90-minute appointments and maybe intensive packages? Like, all that information is important to think about, because that's going to lay out like, how am I talking about intensive therapy? Because if you are in a space where you're like, I'm really tired of the weekly model, I'm tired of the short sessions, I want to make the transition to, at least by default, the 90-minute sessions, if not the more like intensive package options. I see a lot of therapists who do that, of like, I only work in 3 to 4 hour chunks of therapy at a time. And they're full and they're thriving. So that is an option. I like still a mix of both. And that meant that I used to have both on my website. And admittedly, while I had both of like, here's my hourly rate, here's my intensive rate, here's the intensive rate for the packages, it looked a little confusing to clients, right? If they're still seeing, well, you're doing both, this one looks cheaper, the weekly hour long, like, why wouldn't I just do that one? So in that way, I was kind of shooting myself in the foot of people who don't know intensives, who haven't tried intensives. If they're seeing both kind of listed out, they're going to be like, oh, well, maybe I'll just do this one, because they don't understand the value of an intensive yet. So I recently made the change to my website, maybe in the past month or so, where I only discuss intensives. That doesn't mean I still don't work with people in a weekly hour-long model, but it means any new clients I only want to take on in an intensive way. So again, for you, be thinking about, how do you want to incorporate intensives? Is it the only thing you want to offer, especially for new clients, because you might just choose to do that? Or do you want to do, here's my traditional 45, 50, 60-minute, here's some 90-minute options, here's some package options. So thinking about just the options that you have of how you want to incorporate that. Really thinking about creating dedicated pages on your website about those intensive services. I've seen a lot of therapy websites that are either just like one page, and I know for those of you who use like Simple Practice, you kind of just get that one page to work with. Some people are like, I just put together something, I just wanted to get something up there in terms of a website, which totally understand that is a beast when you're starting with it. But thinking about like as you're expanding your website, or if you already have a website that has multiple pages, you want one to be explicitly dedicated to intensive services. Number one, that's going to really help with setting it apart as like this is a key service that this person offers. As someone's looking through like the drop down menu, they can see like, oh, you do IFS, you do brain spotting, you do, oh, what's this intensive thing? So it gives people more of a drive to like actually look into it. It also helps with your Google findability if people are searching for like, someone told me about this thing called an intensive, maybe my psychiatrist recommended it. Let me search for in my state intensive EMDR, whatever it might be, couples intensive, because I do those too. So that really helps by having a separate page. How is someone going to find you? How's someone going to know that you're offering intensive services? And then on that page, you want to think about covering the topics like, again, what does this even mean by an intensive? What does that mean for me as a therapist who offers intensives? Because again, you're going to have your own model of what that looks like. If it's 90 minutes, if it's 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, X amount of hours over X amount of days and weeks, maybe. So to talk about like, here's what an intensive is, here's what that would look like, here are the benefits of it, right? Like, why would you choose something that at face value looks like it costs more money? Because it does on paper, but what are the benefits of it, right? Like, how many of your clients have to consistently take time off of work or pay for childcare or whatever it is, like all those barriers that get in people's way? Having an intensive can eliminate a lot of that, right? Instead of coming to 1 hour-long appointment once a week, they can do a 3 or 4 hour appointment once a month so that their schedule can stabilize a little bit. They don't have to make all the accommodations that they normally make. So what are the benefits in terms of those logistics? What are the benefits in terms of what they can expect from therapy? There's a few good like research citations that are out there. I'm happy to send that to anyone if anyone's interested. But there's research on like, here's how an intensive format for therapy is more helpful, right? Like, not only are you getting more time to process things, but you're also, again, saving money on all those logistical things and maybe medications that are managing symptoms that you might not even need anymore moving forward in the intensive format. So just being able to share, like, here's all the things you want to think about. Here's all the things that you get when you sign up for what is a premium service, and what can you expect? And that might be, you know, some of you, I know a lot of you have said you already have experience with maybe like the 90-minute sessions. It's just been the packages that you're less experienced with. And so you could share, obviously not like identifiable results, but you could share like, what are some things that clients might typically notice after an intensive program? And that you can probably even quote from like some of that research of clients notice decreased triggers or PTSD symptoms or urges to binge eat or drink or something like that. Like, you can kind of give like broad kind of scope themes like you might do on an anxiety page or eating disorder management page or something like that. But just to say, like, here are the things that you can expect, right? Because if they don't even know what it is, okay, but now they kind of have an idea, but why would they want to do it? Okay, that's a little bit compelling. And then what are the results that they can expect? Okay, yeah, now I'm getting sold a little bit more. So all of those things of like, how do I clearly define what is an intensive? Why do you want to do it? What can you expect? And then what's your call to action around that, right? So a lot of us have those, like, click here to schedule a 15-minute consultation with me. That's a call to action, but I want you to think about what would a stronger call to action be, right? So are there ways that you can make it even more compelling? Like, what would really hook someone? One of mine, I don't remember if I've changed this recently, because I actually have a couple different, again, I have an individual intensive page, I have a couples intensive page, and I know sometimes even things like, you know, call to schedule a consultation to feel better faster, or change your relationship in 1 to 3 days. Something that sounds like, ooh, yes, I want to click that button, I want to call this person, I want to get scheduled with them. So two, you want to think about, some of this is broader, not just related to intensives, but around copywriting pieces, especially important for intensives, but things to be thinking about in terms of headlines, subheadings that you're using to really grab attention to the readers, and what are the pain points, what are the desires of the potential clients. So I have things like, we know a lot of really helpful content that marketing professionals use is a framework around like, what is the pain point, right? What is someone struggling with? How do we agitate that pain point a little bit? And then how do we show this is the thing for you, right? So in the, what's the word I'm looking for? In the frame of intensives, to be thinking about what's the pain point that someone might be struggling with that intensives might be the answer for, right? That might be, you feel like you hardly even have time for therapy, right? How many of you work with doctors or lawyers or pilots or people who just have schedules that are all over the place, right? Already that would hook them in of like, yeah, I don't feel like I have time for weekly therapy. My schedule changes around so much. Okay, yeah, great. So maybe you don't even have the time for weekly therapy. Maybe you've been waiting on a wait list for months for weekly therapy, right? That's hard. We all know that the mental health world right now is a little stretched. So the beauty of intensives when you're being intentional about how you want to fit that into your schedule is sometimes you can offer that more quickly. Like right now, my weekly, every other week wait list is months out. I don't think I would see anyone new until next year unless someone surprisingly dropped off my caseload. But the way that I hold space in my calendar for intensives, this consultation that I mentioned earlier, I think I had that call last week and was able to book that person in a week and a half because I had that saved in my schedule. So the fact that someone could get in quicker and also get more work done in that time, right? Like that's compelling to them. That stops and grabs their attention and says, okay, you're selling me a little bit more. Maybe this is something that would be interesting for me. So to be thinking about like, again, why is the intensive model for them? Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they're tired of waiting in wait lists. Maybe they have a lot of stuff they want to get through and they don't like the 50-minute model either, right? Like how many clients have said like, oh, I just feels like there's too much and I'm not sure how to use this time the best and the most effectively. Okay, so like let's open up those options, right? Like how would a 90-minute session feel if we just had a little bit more time and it could be a little bit more open? So really thinking about like how are you almost like designing your web page? And again, this applies to your other pages, not just intensives, but how am I designing it in a way that is always grabbing the attention of the reader so that they're saying like, yes, that's me, sign me up. So that when they get to the consultation with you, they're ready to go. So thinking about the different ways that you are, again, those call to actions, making them really strong. I think part of what can be helpful to consider too is what are those call to actions? Not just like what are they saying in terms of click here to schedule a consultation and things like that. If there is a compelling and strong way to say like, feel better faster now, or you're tired of waiting, let's start work now, like whatever that would look like. I'm not good at coming up with that stuff on the fly. Normally I take some more time to think about that. But two, to think about when this is a premium service that you're offering, right? It is something that you're saying, we're going to streamline your results. We're going to get you in quicker. It is a premium service, which is why I charge premium fees for it. You also want to think about grander scheme of things. How cohesive and how much does your website convey that to, right? Like we've all seen those websites where we're like, oh, this is an ugly website. It takes forever to load. We just click out of it. But if your website looks good overall and it's already compelling, that's going to keep people on there longer. If you have things like what are they called? Like an embedded contact form on your website, that already looks a little bit more elevated. If you actually have a built-in scheduler in your website, that's even better, right? Like how many times are you looking for a pet groomer or a auto detail or something like that? And how much more likely are you to book the one that has online scheduling as opposed to the one where it's like, call me now and I'll return your call in 72 business hours or something like that. I know for me, as a therapist, business owner, I also prefer if people can just schedule something in. And I've got lots of like ways to kind of help weed people out if it turns out they're not even going to be a good fit. And I can take care of that on the back end, but it at least eliminates the back and forth of trying to get something scheduled, makes it really easy. People see like this person has their stuff together. And again, I'm excited to work with them. So all of those things that you want to think about in terms of how does my website, how does what I write on my website, how I write it, and the overall look and design of my website, how does that convey this is a premium service that these clients want? I want to stop and see if there's any questions about everything. I know I'm covering a lot of like design, copy, what an intensive is, how you sell it for people. Just want to see if there's any questions that are coming up. And maybe while you all are taking a chance to think about that, part two that I want to talk about a little bit is how do you talk with your current clients about it? Because there are ways to really think about how do I pitch this to my routine clients that might sometimes feel like those are the hottest leads. They already like you. They already know what it's like to work with you. So there's definitely ways you can send like a, notice of practice update. I'm now offering therapy intensives. This might be a good fit for you if you've noticed feeling frustrated that we don't get to enough in our 50 minutes every week or something like that. So think about your copywriting not just for what you put on your website to attract new clients, but also what kind of copy would help your current clients think about like, yep, I want to try that with you. I'm at least open to like, let's do a 90-minute and then let's see. And then a lot of people might do it and they're going to be hooked and want to keep doing that, which would be really cool. So packages in terms of number of sessions a week in length, the beauty is you get to figure that out. You get to decide it, right? It's about what works for you, what works with the client. A lot of times when I see couples, they tend to be a little more, like excited and committed about like a 2-day back-to-back intensive, especially I have a couple of people who will come in from a different state to work with me. So for them, my couples intensives, for example, would look like an intake session with the both of them, 2 individual sessions. We break, we do a 2-hour couples intensive session, and then the next day we do 4 hours split in 2 and 2. So that's just what I do because that works for me, and I know people get fatigued with a lot of therapy as excited they are to make a lot of movement. It also means it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of processing, it's a lot of feelings that come up. So I try not to do too many hours at once, knowing that we all have our own kind of like emotional thresholds and lives to get back to, chores to do, stuff like that. So that's usually what my couples packages look like. I offer 1 days, which it'd be the same 3 hours in the beginning and then just a 2-hour, or I also offer a 3-day, which would just be 4 hours after that second 4-hour day. But a lot of people just really like the 2-day. For individual packages, those I find I have a lot more flexibility with and my clients have a lot more flexibility with. Especially, this is something to think about too with the copywriting piece. Like, what is your goal around, do you want to even advertise within the copywriting that you are someone who does adjunct therapy? So you are someone who only wants to work with someone in an intensive model if they have a weekly or biweekly therapist that they already see, because that might inform kind of what your package looks like. So for example, I worked with someone who has a weekly therapist. They wanted to do an intensive model, do some of the more somatic work that I have training in. And we booked, technically it was a 3-day intensive, but we met a Monday, the following Wednesday, so 2 days later, and then a month later we did another day. So again, they can book whatever package and then just kind of use it however they want. Or a lot of times people want to be flexible with, I have high hopes, I'm really excited about how this is going to go. Let's book a 4-hour, and then towards the end of that 4-hour intensive, let's see what that's looking like. If maybe I want to come back in a month just to check in, have another intensive session. So it gets to be flexible with what you want, what that looks like for you, depending on also what the client's needs and presentation is. I'll probably do another live sometime soon. I'll get you all to vote on what would be most helpful. But in terms of screening clients and just like setting expectations for clients, you know, you might offer someone who has like a single incident PTSD kind of event, like a car accident. You could probably do a lot of work in a 1-day intensive versus someone who has a complex trauma history. That's a little harder to, cover. You can get to a good amount in a day, but it would be, within your clinical judgment, within your skills, again, your modalities. I would actually really recommend an X day, this type of package for you. So you get to lean into both like your clinical reasoning, the more that you start to do these intensives and intensive packages, what you see work for people, and ultimately just what does that look like for you? You could be someone who offers intensives as needed. You could do adjunct therapy. You can do only intensive packages and then tell people if they want more intensive therapy on a more weekly basis or routine basis. That'd be cool if someone wanted to do it weekly. Then it would be, I totally lost my train of thought. Yes, if you only wanted to do the packages and someone wanted more routinely, you could refer them out to other providers who are doing that. So yeah, that would be all of the different options that you have for how people can work with you. So summarize some of the pieces around copywriting. What you want to think about is having that separate page all about intensives, deciding, what is the way that I want to work with it. Am I doing weekly and intensives, or am I only shifting to intensives? And then how do I promote what is an intensive? How do I talk about what I can expect, what that looks like? What are the benefits? What are the results? And that strong call to action. And yeah, if there's more support that you all are needing, you've seen a couple of times that I've promoted my group coaching program, where I'm giving you a lot of what I talk about in these lives that I'm doing is the what and kind of big picture. And then in the program, I'm talking a lot about the how. Like, this is directly what you're doing. I'm going to walk you through step by step. I'll give you some templates for some scripts for what to post on your website. So there I give you a lot more support. And yes, would definitely talk about how do you manage your own fatigue? How do you take breaks? So I've got more information on my website about what costs would be, what payment plans could look like, which I'm super flexible. If people need to do payment plans, I don't charge additional fees. I know some people will do, well, if you split it in 2, that's $100 more. If you split it in 3, that's more money. I don't like that. So for me, it's just whatever works for you works for me. I just want to support you all and share some of the knowledge so that you can incorporate this and be excited about how it can change your practice and, again, increase your income, make you feel more confident about all of your different options. So definitely feel free to direct message me. You all have my Facebook information. You should have my email from the kind of emails that get sent through when you join this group. But otherwise, want to be respectful of everyone's time and give you some time back. I know I've got a client session to go to too, but again, just appreciate you all being here. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about anything, following up, especially if you've watched this as a replay. And otherwise, I'll be posting another poll probably on Sunday or Monday for some additional topics for next week's live. So I'll look forward to seeing you all around, chatting with you in Facebook Messenger, and otherwise hope you all have a good rest of your day. I know it's hot in the US right now. I know it's wildfire season. We got a lot of smoky skies out there. So stay cool, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you so much. Bye.